Hey everyone, welcome to the Curious Girl Diaries podcast. I'm Layla London, aka The Curious Girl. Now, just to let you know, this podcast is not suitable for work. It's also not suitable for anybody under 18. But the rest of you consenting adults, let's get ready to talk about my sex life, sex in general, and everything in between in explicit, raunchy, fun detail. All right, here we go. Hello everyone. All right. I wanted to talk about hooking up on the internet. I know I've mentioned this before, and I get a lot of questions about this, so I thought it'd be just an appropriate subject to talk about because it's in depth. It's hard to just answer it quickly, so I can actually cover some ground on this, and I think it'll be helpful to some of you that have messaged me about this and want to know, kind of how I do it, what my system is, and I think I get a lot of feedback from people that aren't really having that much luck. So hopefully this may or may not help. But first thing is, and I know I've said this before, is I run this like a business. It's systematic. And when you run something like a business, guys, you have to really put, time, effort, and energy into it. And you kind of have to limit that because it can't, there's the other side of that is it can be a total time suck, and everybody's got their regular lives that they're doing and, jobs and all that. And this really can become like a job. The reason I've put so much effort and energy into it, obviously, is because I made it a goal. So anything that, I say I'm going to do and I kind of go on record and say I'm going to do, I take it pretty seriously. So I think that's been why, I've had so many successful, I guess, meetups or encounters. And then also, from those, you naturally find your way to some really good, friends with benefits, which is what I'm, ultimately after. It's not, I don't want to keep doing this all the time. And the faster I can kind of cycle people through, the weeding and sorting process, then, I can get down to the good stuff. So I'm on two sites. One for me has been dramatically better than the other. It's interesting because the one site that you would think would be better isn't. And one site I would say it's going to be every frickin' Yahoo on the planet. And then the other site is, I think, a little more selective of a crowd. But I have better luck at the site that, where it's every man for himself, where it's just, I think there's just, maybe it's the volume, the numbers. I'm not sure, but what I kind of find is, one site, I'm able to, move people along faster. And then the other site almost seems like a lot of, I don't know if you want to call them tire kickers. That might be a good way to put it, where they're just, they're just like, they want to message back and forth a lot, but they don't know how to close the deal. And, I'm not going to do it for you. I mean, you're the man, for God's sakes, you have the penis. I don't. So, if you can't do that, that tells me right there that just we wouldn't be good friends with benefits anyway, because I still, it's important for me, that the man be the man and knows how to do that. And so it kind of helps me self-eliminate there. But on the, on that one side, that I don't get as many results from, I do get some good ones. And so, it's worth keeping around. Just as far as the contact goes, I don't reach out to the guys. There's been 3 guys I've only ever reached out to. One of those guys was Clark, and I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm so glad I did that. That was a good decision. And then the second guy was HJ, and we don't live close, but I'm glad I did that too, because great guy. Really, just the distance, wasn't, going to be the right thing. But great to talk to, and I mean, all the right stuff. It's just, it's impractical if you want, I mean, really to have that friends with benefits dynamic. It's just harder to do. So, and that was good because that also taught me about, even, it's interesting, even just guys that are like 60 miles away or 30 miles away, it does get impractical. I mean, for me, you need to be close. And it's certainly not that I don't mind flying out to see somebody. I mean, I've done it. I'll do it again. It's fun, or taking a trip with somebody. That is fun. But, you need to have sort of a common stomping ground that you guys can, play in. That's where you're easily accessible to each other. And it's not like, okay, let me get on a plane. Okay, you got to go through all these gyrations. So that kind of, that didn't work out well. And then the third guy was my friend, the guy that we ended up, the guy that I reference all the time on these podcasts. We ended up just, after talking to each other and really like getting in depth, and because he doesn't live local either, and this is when I still kind of hadn't really figured out that local not local dynamic. But after talking to him, I was like, shit. I mean, I just like this guy so much. Like, I don't know that we want to fuck this up by having sex with each other. So we've stayed platonic, and I'm so glad, because honestly, I mean, he's like, he really literally is just like, I feel like he's like the male version of me. Although I'm going to actually give him some props and say a more highly evolved male version of me. Because I just, he's the kind of guy, he's the guy I like lean on and say, what do you think of this? Or I always run stuff, by him and say, give me your thoughts. And he always has a really good opinion. So, anyhow, so those are the only three times I've ever, messaged somebody first. The rest, I just, I let the guys message me. And that works out really well. And the thing about that is, it's the sites that I'm on, there's definitely more guys than girls. So in that respect, I do kind of have the advantage, or women, not just me, but women have the advantage in the fact that, they can just kind of sit back and let their inbox fill up. There's two ways of looking at that. I mean, you could say, if you're doing, I feel like when I am doing the picking, I pick well. But for me to sit there and do all these searches and read through everything, really, at this point, is it's a little impractical. As I move forward, maybe I'll switch it up and start, let that be kind of how I do things and experiment with it. Who knows? But it definitely takes more time. And so this is one way where I can just turn it on autopilot, and kind of, like I said, let the messages come in, and then, start sifting and sorting from there. So when the messages do come in, I'm really just trying to eliminate, as fast as I can. Like, either get somebody to self-eliminate, or, find something straight off the bat that I can just say, nope. And, and I'll just send that message. Now, I do try to respond to everyone. And I think I probably have it's probably about 85% that, that I'll respond to. Sometimes if I'm really just overwhelmed, and I just there was nothing about your profile that spoke to me or whatever, I'll just delete you. But for the most part, I really just try to say, as long as it's a decent message, and, so 15%, some of those are just goofy, goofy dick pics, whatever they're coming at me with. So, the opening line is just so bad. I'm like, I can't even, there's no thank you. I can't say thank you, so if I can't say thank you, if I can't at least say thank you, then I'll just delete you. But for the most part, I'll try to, if someone sends me a halfway decent message, even if it's, hey, how are you? How was your weekend? I'll say, great, thank you, and leave it at that. It's just one response. And then sometimes, someone takes that as they understand that that's just me being polite. Sometimes there's a follow-up. If there's a follow-up, I may or may, there's about a 40 or 50% response rate for me at that point. But it's generally, again, it's just to politely try to say, thank you, but, not interested. If I can give a reason straight out of the gate, the biggest reasons my no's are height, their status, they're married, separated, attached, in a relationship, whatever. I don't want to get involved in any of that. It's not my thing. And so either they're not hitting my height requirement, their status, or their age. A lot of times they're too young. I've talked about this, like, how young am I going to go? I just sent a response earlier today to somebody that was 26, and I just said, a really cute guy. I mean, it's tempting. It's very tempting. Yeah, very, very tempting. But, come on, seriously. It's like, I can't do it. I cannot go there. That for me, I am getting into the creeper zone. I don't want to go to the creeper zone. So, or too old. There's also, there's too young or too old. I get guys that are 20 years older than me, even 15 years. I mean, things like that. What I've noticed is, or what I've started to realize is that, unlike when I was a younger lady, I'm not as attracted to the guys that have the big age gap anymore. When you're 20 and you like a 35-year-old, that's okay. Or even, 39, something like that. But I don't know when that kind of just dawned on me now that I'm older, but, I don't want to necessarily, I don't want to be dating someone that, is closer to my mom's age or my dad's age than my age. So something about that just isn't for me anymore. So I try to be polite again and just say, hey, that's a little out of my age range. So when I do touch on somebody that, they're interesting, like I read their profile, I'm like, okay, good. They send me face pics, I can find, I can see what they look like. Then I try to move it forward quickly. Just a few message exchanges are fine. And then I try to move it on to texting. And then, and then from there, I like to talk with somebody on the phone. It's really important to hear somebody's voice. I'll tell you what, I get on the phone with people and I'm like, I hear their voice and I'm like, oh God, no. Like I couldn't listen to that voice in bed. I couldn't have that person. No, I mean, just talking dirty to me, whispering in my ear in that voice. So, that's a biggie for me. There's just certain tones and dialects that I just do not like. And you can tell a lot about a person by the way they talk, by the way they enunciate, their vocabulary, it says a lot. So hearing somebody on the phone is, for me, important. And then from there, I like to set up a meeting that is that's not going to lead to sex. It's just like, hey, coffee or a quick drink or something. Even dinner's fine, lunch, whatever. But it's understood that, we're not just going to go sit and meet and then go to a hotel room right after this. I have made a few exceptions to that. I think I've noted those in previous podcasts. If I've spent a lot of time on the phone with somebody, a lot of time on the phone with somebody, then I can kind of make that judgment call. I can tell. Because just by chatting with them, I'm already really interested. My interest level has gone, from a 5 to, 8.5. And I can just tell that, I'm fairly certain that if I go there, I won't have to be embarrassed or uncomfortable by saying, I know you got a hotel room, but I think we should scrap that idea. Um, so so I go and I just meet them, and I'm just really just testing the chemistry, because you got to see somebody, chat with them for a bit, look in their eyes, get to know them, watch their body language, the way they're dressed. I mean, just everything. I'm checking out every little minute detail. And then, if I like them, then we'll move forward and set up a time to have a physical encounter. And I find that this is really the best way, to do things. I mean, I do not want, I certainly have made my mistakes with this, right? I mean, I've mentioned this before, the ugly fucking. I don't want any more ugly fucking. I could have avoided that situation entirely. And, again, it just meeting somebody face to face, talking to them on the phone, like this helps you with all of your, checking off all your boxes, and also, weeding out the creepy factor, because there's creepy people out there, there just are. And, men and women, it's not one-sided, but, you want to be safe, and you want to, make a informed decision before you go off to some location to get physical with someone. And, you don't have a whole lot of time to, the way I'm doing it, you don't have a whole lot of time to really put all that together. A lot of it's, instinct and gut feel. So, the other thing too is, when you're going to meet, just as a general rule, like when I'm going to meet up with somebody, I never host. And I think this for women is, so the gals that are listening, to me, this is a flat out no, do not do. I think that, guys, I know guys need to be, I'm not trying to slight the guys in any way, because you could get some, crazy cuckoo birds. I know they're out there. I hear it from guys all the time. Every guy I've ever met has, some crazy cuckoo bird story. But the thing with, that for me, with what I've come across is, I think that, the difference for the females, or what's been my experience, is that those crazy cuckoo birds, are putting you physically at risk. Generally speaking, unless the woman dramatically outweighs you and is taller and can overpower you, it's the other way around. So, it's really just a smart thing. You don't want to put yourself in any kind of physical harm's way. And, I've never hosted, and I've been doing this quite fine, quite well, quite successfully, without ever having somebody come to my home and know where I live. And I just think that that's, I think it's really important for women. So I hope that, the women out there, take that to heart, and, kind of give it some thought. And, look, over time, depending on your circumstances, you may find it appropriate. I'm not saying that things don't change, dynamics don't shift, but definitely in the beginning, no way. No way. So you really, really want to be, safe. And that's basically, the process. I get on, I'll get online, usually early mornings, and try to just bang out a bunch of email responses, and then, and move it along. And I try to keep, for me, I try to keep my inbox as clean and clear as possible. So the guys that I'm chatting with, that I'm interested in, or maybe I just started texting with, I keep those emails and their face pic and everything, so that I can remember, who it is. And I know that sounds awful, but, sometimes you're chatting with 10 guys at once, that have moved to the texting. And so, you have to keep everybody straight. And it doesn't take me, I mean, I'm good about it. It doesn't take me very long, but so what I want to do is just clear out, anybody that's not, that I'm not interested in, and because your inbox will fill up. I mean, and then you can't it's pushing all these other ones down, and you can't find the guys, you want to talk to, and you're like, wait, who is that? What did I say there? And anyway, it gets a little confusing. And as a side note, there was only one time. Now I'm really good with, names and faces, and there was only one time that I ever called somebody by the wrong name when I went to meet them, and I was so embarrassed because I normally don't do that. And there was really no reason to do that. It just, I was just having a busy day, and anyway, and that guy, I still chat with him from time to time, and he's such a good guy, and he knows who he is. When he listens to this, he'll probably message me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was just stupid. But that's the only time I've ever done that. And it's just really just a matter of, again, because I'm systematic about all this, I can and do keep it straight. But, yeah, that was not a good moment for me where I think I called him Chris. Oh, anyway, his name was not Chris, but anyway, he is a really good guy. So a sexy guy too. So it's not like I'll ever make that mistake again. Anyhow, so I think that probably about sums it up. I'm trying to see. Let me look, and I'm going to open up right now to see if there's anything interesting to chat about. Oh, that guy's kind of cute. Oh. Anyway, so my goodness gracious. So I got on, let's see, I got on this morning and cleared everything out. So I had no messages left, or no unanswered messages. And just not even being online, I have, within like 3 hours, I've got six. So, yes, very, very interesting. One guy, I should not read people's messages, but this guy says, this is not the right way to go about it. I'd love to go down on you today at lunch. Shall I come see you? Okay, you're not coming to my house. This is the second time he said, shall I come by? Shall I come see you? My first response to him was a thank you. And being polite, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a decent looking guy. But now the first message was definitely more vanilla. And now this one is, he wants to go down on me today at lunch. I'm going to spend just a little bit of time here, hopefully telling some guys, or maybe educating some guys, on the fact that women like to be courted. I don't care that this is a hookup site. I know there's penises and vaginas all over this site. Tits, boobs, asses, gangbangs, the whole frickin' kit and caboodle. But still, most women want to be treated like women. So when you lead with, do you want to suck my cock? You come out of the gate with, shall I go down on you? And at least he said, at least I'd love to go down on you today at lunch. Okay, that's not super offensive, but still, it's not the best thing to lead with. Why don't you try to get to know me a little bit? Or, I say that my website's on here. You know who gets my attention? I'll tell you who gets my attention. The guys that actually read my profile, and they'll make a comment on it. Guys, this is so easy and so obvious. Trust me. Read one paragraph. Don't strain your brains too much if you don't want to sit there. I know some women, I've seen some long ones, trust me, I know. Mine is not long. I try to make it as concise as I can to kind of point people in the right direction, like, hey, if you want to get to know more about me, here's how you do it. But just make a comment on what she's already commented on. This is kind of conversation 101, right? You notice and then you comment. You notice and then you comment. And we women love that. We absolutely love that. I mean, you're like, oh, hey, somebody's paying attention. Yay, right? It makes us feel good. So there's an easy tip. God, I'm going to get off. I know I'm starting to get on my soapbox about this, but I feel like there's so many guys, I look at their profiles, and I've even said in some of my responses to people, some of the responses I send every once in a while are like, you look like I know that person's not for me, but I'll say, hey, that profile picture, if you change it out with your other one, that's a better one to lead with, not the one you have up, where you're like with your bros, grabbing a tit, at some car show. I mean, really? Okay. I don't know. What is that about? I don't, I look at what they say and I'm like, God, I could rewrite that really fast. I could rewrite what your verbiage right there that you put, and I could just make that so much better. But that's not my job. But I tell you what, if what I do now just doesn't work out, then I think I have a backup plan here. I could make a lot of money, like helping guys get laid. I'll be their little, online coach. I'm getting, I mean, sometimes I just want to help people out. I'm like, oh, honey, let me, and I do. I try to give I know it's unsolicited advice, but if I give it to you, trust me, take me up. I mean, just like consider it, because I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, this online stuff. But anyway, well, there you have it. That's kind of how I roll with this. And again, it's like fast and furious, trying to just sift and sort, eliminate, and then the guys that you like, move them to the next phase, and let's try to start meeting, and it has to be, if you want to have success at this and not just feel like this process doesn't work, you kind of have to run it this way, which is, it sounds, I can understand if it sounds a little harsh or crass, or unpersonal, but, to get to the people that ultimately, you'd like to be sexual with, you really have to move quickly and not spend any time on the ones that you know for sure that, you don't want to. So there you go. Again, as always, thank you for listening, and any questions or comments, please send those to curiousgirl@thecuriousgirldiaries.com.